Healthcare and senior care is fraught with problems and challenges, but we're also seeing some amazing new clinical treatments and resources. This show will help illuminate and uncover the good, bad, the ugly in order to equip patients, families, and other healthcare providers. Welcome to Senior Care Confidential. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Senior Care Confidential. I'm here with my co-host, Joe.
Hi there.
And we are talking about Parkinson's and a unique approach to treatments and some strategies that just became familiar with probably about a few months ago. So we're here with Austen and Dr. Mallory Spoonts. So welcome. But before we get started on your background and all the great stuff that you guys are able to do, I wanted to show the audience a recent interview that was done by you, I think it was WFAA, correct?
That's correct.
On your project or your program called Rock Steady Boxing. So Jordan, let's cue that up.
This disease affects nearly 1 million Americans, and there is no cure. But a gym in North Texas is using, of all things, boxing to deliver a counterpunch to the neurological disorder. Tiffany Liu explains.
18.
Before every good workout,
20.
you need a good stretch.
All right, feet are spread apart here.
Coach Mallory Spoonts leads the group at Rock Steady Boxing in Dallas.
1, 2, 3.
Her class is crafted for fighters with Parkinson's disease.
We run Rock Steady Boxing Dallas and Southlake.
Mallory and her husband, Austen, started this in 2019.
This is now the highlight of my day.
The pandemic put a pause on their plans, but for the sake of their fighters, they brought it back as soon as they could.
The Parkinson's has been a real huge issue in our lives. It deteriorated quite a bit in the last year because of not exercising like I should.
John Thompson has seen symptoms develop over 13 years since his diagnosis. You see, Parkinson's is a nervous system disorder that progresses over time. It often starts with shaking or stiff muscles. Then speech and other movements can decline, and there is no cure.
You can't stop it, but you can certainly interfere with it.
What's coming is inevitable, but if anything can delay the symptoms, it's worth fighting for.
My favorite is hitting the bag.
While John takes a jab at Parkinson's, he motivates Larry Kaiser.
When I see those that are more advanced, it just makes you work harder.
Larry was diagnosed last December, and he saw this coming after watching his dad with Parkinson's.
My dad ended up in a scooter and couldn't talk.
He is starting self-treatment early, and it's working.
I went back to the doctor, and he said, whatever you're doing, keep it up. Because the exterior appearances were gone.
At Rock Steady Boxing, everyone goes at their own pace. One cross, one jab, or in Larry's case, one dance move at a time. It's motivation for a stronger tomorrow. In Dallas, I'm Tiffany Liu.
That's awesome.
I think we're all kind of teared up after watching that. That's awesome. So how did you guys get involved in this? What's your background and how'd you guys get involved?
Yeah, so I'm a physical therapist. I primarily see the neurologic population, so Parkinson's being that main diagnosis I see. And so as a therapist, we treat our patients, we do the best we can in the clinic, we set up the best home exercise program, we send them home, they're gonna do it every day, and then they come back.
Right, yeah.
And so it's just so hard. And so I just saw the need, and there's this gap between the clinic and then continuing on with exercise because we just know how important it is in the management of Parkinson's. Mm-hmm. And so I went to school in Indiana. And so Rock Steady Boxing started in Indianapolis. Okay. And so that's how I initially got introduced. My professor did some of the initial research with the program, and I was just shocked when I was in one of the biggest cities, DFW, and there was no Rock Steady Boxing down here. And so looked at my husband and said...
I'm the crazy one. And I said, let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's start it.
Do it ourselves.
And you guys have been open for how long?
3 years now.
For 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. So you got to work with, or you went to school with one of the people who researched this particular program. What were they finding with this kind of an approach?
Yeah. So she was finding that it was safe and effective. And so that was a lot of people, when you hear boxing, they're like, whoo, like doesn't that cause Parkinson's? Isn't that dangerous? And so it's a non-contact boxing program. Gotcha. And so we had to really emphasize that to some of our potential boxers. And so, yeah, she found that that it was a safe and effective program. It helped slow down the progression, help reduce symptoms, and helped people just overall have a better quality of life.
So is it an individualized program or group class? Tell us about your classroom or the studio.
So it is a group class. So right now, nothing necessarily individualized. That's kind of where I come from as a physical therapist. That's a more one-on-one. And so that group setting is definitely a new territory for me, but it's a lot of fun. And so I think with that group class, the best part is the camaraderie.
They get some social support there too. It's other patients and other families.
It's not just the exercise. So one of the best, and again, now I'm supposed to not be the emotional one, but I probably will too. One of the best days we started this, and we used to try when we first signed up and said we're going to start this, and we put the advertising out there and we said we're going to start this class when we get 5. Was it 5 or 6? I forgot. And it took us like a month, maybe 2, before we actually had, okay, we got 5 people called me. I'm like, okay, hey, and I was telling them, hey, once you have 5 people, we'll get the class started. And then, so we finally did, and we got going, and it was probably 6 weeks, maybe 2 months into it. And they all went to lunch together. And that was after class. And that was so many people that are battling this disease think that they're alone and they don't have anything or they don't understand. And as much as they get from the exercises, as much as they get to be around other people that are going through what they're going through. So I always laugh. Some of our guys, and it is a disease that affects mostly men. Yeah. So if I do say our guys, it is because the majority are men. But they'll be sitting around just chatting and talking, and I always joke with them, hey, are you guys going to actually work out, or are you just here to talk? Yeah. And that's kind of my role in this whole thing. She's the brains of the operation. I like to make sure that they're having fun and make sure that they're enjoying their workout, or just make them laugh or smile, because a lot of times this is a hard disease, and there are times when they want to be still treated like they're a human being. And so having some guy, I'm not that young anymore, come up and poke them, come on, you can do this, or come on, just jabbing with them and having fun with them is a big part of it. And that's what I bring to the table.
Well, one of the biggest issues that came out of the COVID pandemic was isolation. Mm-hmm. And especially with Parkinson's, a disease like this, you'd feel like you're walking this alone. And this is so incredible. I hadn't thought about the boxing. I thought it was just an individual workout, but I love this, that it's with a group and they're working out together and they're sharing camaraderie and walking the same walk with other people. That's fantastic.
And even this year, we've started a support group at both of our locations. So it's even outside. So
for the family members as well?
For anybody that wants to come. So if you're suffering from Parkinson's disease, once a month, at South Lake and Dallas, we have a support group, and it's just,
that's incredible.
It's actually ran by 2 wives.
Yeah, is it really?
It is.
Participants of the program.
Yeah, they just.
Oh, that's so cool. So now the wives are getting connected too.
We have the wives group, and I always think that that's
you
funny.
do? Okay.
Oh yeah, because again, predominantly men, and so the wives that come with their husbands will sit over, and they're all friends too, and they sit and chat and talk and. I thought it was so funny. I'll go over and she gets mad at me because I'll go just sit and talk to the guy. I love talking to the wives. The other day, I think we were talking about Prince Harry cheating on Prince Harry cheating on his wife or something like that. And she gets on to me, are you going to get back in here? And so
we have a job to do.
Yeah, we have a job to do.
Okay, so I have another question.
Okay.
So what about, I've got 2 female clients with Parkinson's right now, and both are wheelchair bound. Mm-hmm. So would a boxing class for someone wheelchair bound be beneficial?
Yeah, most definitely. So we primarily have more of the higher level right now, because I think that's just, again, when you hear the boxing class, that's who we attract. But we definitely can cater to those that have less mobility. So we've had a lot of people, we just have them pull up to the bag, and they can do things like that. If they can at least stand at the bag, we try to at least encourage them to stand, do one hand at a time, have their wheelchair behind them or a chair to sit down when they need to, just so they get just as much mobility as possible. But there's plenty to do just even sitting, and you can still punch the bag as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What are some, you and I are both physical therapists. I know, but you're also a neuro certified specialist, correct?
Yeah, neuroclinical specialist.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what are some traditional approaches that we see with Parkinson's, and why do we use those type of approaches? And then add in like, what's the purpose? Like, how does Rock Steady specifically help with them as well?
Yeah, so I'm also certified in what's called LSVT Big. So that's one highly researched program that therapists use a lot, and that's what a lot of physicians are most familiar with.
That's correct. Yeah.
And so
And explain what that is to a non-physical therapist.
So it's a research-based exercise program. It's 4 times a week for 4 weeks. So it's a pretty intense program that they have to say yes to. And so there's daily exercises that focuses on really big movement. It addresses balance, posture, strength, mobility. We do a lot of walking activities to help. So it's kind of addresses everything that Parkinson's can affect. And then, but there is like that 4 times for 4 weeks. And then typically after that, you get discharged and you're supposed to again do it at home.
And the idea, if I'm not an LSVT therapist, but the idea, if I understand this correctly, is the big exaggerated movements are used with them, one for coordination and neurostimulation, but also if you can handle the big movements, the smaller, more daily kind of movements that were required to do become easier and more coordinated.
Yeah,
is that kind of the idea behind it?
Yeah, and so a lot of it is, the movements, they become so small, but they think they're so big. And so it's trying to help reprogram.
Almost like a recalibration.
Yeah. So they think sometimes, this little step here, like, no, I am taking a big step. I'm like, but you're really not. Like, really take a big step. So you just kind of, what they think is big is more normal movement for them.
Okay.
I might look like a crazy lady and doing huge movements, and that's what they think they are doing. But by them making it big, it's making it more normalized movement.
Okay. Do you guys use some similar concept of that within the Rock Steady program?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I can't turn my brain off. So that therapy mind will definitely show its face in our Rock Steady warm-ups and during class and cool down and things like that.
What does a typical class look like in terms of like the exercise? Like, it sounds like there's a warm up, then there's the core, and then there's a cool down. What kind of exercises would they expect to do there?
Yeah, so our warm up again is a lot of big tight movements. So we're doing lots of just stretches, just kind of general, more of active movements though.
Okay.
Not a ton of static stretching. We do a little bit, but a lot of active movement, a lot of rotation, a lot of walking type things. We do just big walking, high knees, butt kickers, things like that to kind of, your typical kind of warm up, nothing too crazy. We do get the hands involved a lot. So we warm up the hands and the fingers and the wrists. So head to toe, get our voices warmed up as well. Nowhere near a speech therapist, but I know you're just supposed to talk with intent. And so that's my extent. The rest I defer to my colleagues that do speech therapy. And then we jump into the fun part, so we do the boxing workout which has a lot of agility. So hurdles, ladder, walking
we
in
saw
and
the
out
ladder,
of
the hurdles
cones.
in the video. Okay.
So we mix it in between each. So there'll be a boxing combo and then an agility, and then a boxing and then an agility, and then a boxing and agility.
And it doesn't matter for the folks that are maybe concerned about their level of ability or their endurance or strength. You guys can, I would use the word titrate, but you guys can modify the activity level no matter who's attending the class.
So there's a saying that really stuck with me when we were going through the getting training, and is, if you've met one person with Parkinson's, you've met one person with Parkinson's.
Right.
And it affects every single, we have almost 80 boxers, and it affects every single one of them differently.
Yeah.
And so a challenge that we have is definitely, how do you build a group exercise program for 20, 25 people, all affected by this disease in a different way. So it has to be self-paced. We don't, and I'll be the mean truth sometimes. We'll have, the wife will call me, hey, I really want my husband to come here and do this. I was like, he has to want to do it. Because he's got to push himself. The science, the research says forced intense exercise. So they have to want it and they have to push
It
themselves.
says forced intent exercise.
is one
Okay.
of the-
So
And
like
is it-
when you're punching the bag, like it gives you that
That's why.
target.
Okay,
gives
so
you that-
tell me more
yeah.
about that. So what does the science say in particular with that forced intense exercise? How often does it have to happen? How intense does it need to be?
Yeah, so that's a little bit more. So the Parkinson's Foundation and the American College of Sports Medicine came out with one of my favorite, like, one-page exercise sheets. And so it'll say that you at least need to do 3 times a week moderate exercise for 60 minutes or 30 minutes a day. For the 3 times a week. And so we really encourage all of our boxers to try to come 3 times a week because we definitely provide that for them. And so the other 3 categories would be your balance, your flexibility, and your strength. And so we address all of those. So
in one class.
after
So
the
how
boxing-
long does the class last?
So it's 75 minutes. And so that also is another thing that kind of scares people, but it's really because
My
there's
eyes got really big there too.
yeah. You're like
Yeah.
75
I've done like
Yeah.
40. I've done
It's
the
like a Pure Barre
F45 thing.
class.
That's not a plug, but where it's 45 minutes of like hit, and I was like dying after like
Yeah.
20. I'm like, I got 25 minutes to go.
So
But this is not that. No.
Yeah. We account for that camaraderie and the social
Okay.
socializing that happens
And
in
the movement in
between.
between.
so
Okay.
so we typically divide the class into 2 parts. So, we do half and half. So depending on how big the class is, half will do the boxing first, and then the other half will do strength and balance. As a physical therapist, I love core. So
Yeah.
I get everyone down on the ground as if they feel comfortable.
Uh-huh.
And so we get down on the ground, we do mobility skills, fall training, core workout, and some
Great.
stretching. And so then at the halftime, then we switch sides. The other half will do the boxing, and then the other half comes and does the strength and all the other stuff. But there's breaks in between. And so to your point, it is a group class, but it is individualized within the group class. So each station is just one person at each station. So you don't feel like someone is rushing behind you or hurrying you along, and you don't feel like you're keeping up with the class. And so
Okay.
I have found that works better. Again, with the whole group class thing, I've had successes and
We've learned a lot of
unsuccessful
a lot of learning
moments.
along the way.
So you just got to find what works better for people. So we do have some, obstacle courses
Uh-huh.
so we'll do that, but we make it big enough and we put people with, like abilities and things like that
Yeah.
to kind of help. But we do try to make it individualized so they don't really feel like they're being, pushed along or not keeping up.
Okay.
And so we try to keep it that they can have that self-paced aspect to it.
Yeah.
And
And
do what they
so,
can.
so this question, so does Medicare pay for Rocksteady?
They do not.
So yeah, technically we're still a gym membership. So insurance
Okay.
will not cover this.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yes. So we have had some boxers that have private insurance that they take the receipts for the membership and they'll get reimbursed through them. So in this setting, though my background is as a physical therapist, in this setting, I'm a coach. So obviously I can't ever turn my brain off, but in the setting itself, I'm Coach Mallory.
Yeah.
And so it's more of a gym membership is kind of how it works.
Now I know you also work in an outpatient clinic.
Yes.
And so are you incorporating some of the things that you do with Rocksteady in the clinic environment as well with some of your patients?
Yes, of course. And so a lot of it is because I talk about it because, like we've said, that at the end of their therapy time, I try really hard to find, if it's not boxing, I don't take it personal, but try to find them something that they want to do after. I'm like, but I really like the boxing. And so I actually brought a bag with my manager's permission, brought a bag into my clinic.
That's awesome.
And so that they can try it there. I can give them a little taste of what it would be like.
Yeah.
And so most of the time, pretty successful in
Is that building on a
getting them.
therapeutic exercise?
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Or neuromuscular rehab?
Yes, 100%.
That's
So
awesome.
this sounds so awesome. But what about those people that can't afford the boxing? Like, what would you recommend? Because it sounds like such a fun way to exercise. So what would you recommend to those that really don't have the means to get to a class like this that they could do at home?
I was going to for the means part, we are a nonprofit. So we are a registered nonprofit, and we have people that are, we never want money to be a reason that somebody doesn't come. We ask for them to show up. If you are a member, we ask, please help us cover our expenses because, rent and everything else and insurance. We do have costs that we try to, at least help with. But we never, and I tell everybody that if money is an issue, don't let that. If money is the only thing stopping you, please come. Because we have several people right now that will cover the cost of their membership.
Wow,
That's incredible.
And go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so are there grants? Do you all receive grants for?
Well, we just recently started applying to them. And so, and we're trying to build up our funding. And so this year has been really good for us as far as like growth of getting new boxers. We've been able to hire some new coaches to offer more classes during the week. One of those coaches has a lot of business background, which is not my forte. And so she's helping us with marketing and funding and trying to find more resources to get more funding so that we can just continue to grow and hopefully offer more and more resources because we would love to help those at home that can't get out and about. And possibly send someone to their house if they're interested and things like that. But right now we don't have those means. So, but future goals for sure.
You had mentioned earlier about the thing with compliance being an issue with some people after discharging from like a clinic environment. Do you find that because of the camaraderie that you guys talked about with your boxing class and there's a fun factor to what you guys are doing? Do you find that the compliance is much better doing it this way?
Yes, much so. I mean, the fun is what most of them will describe our class as first, which I'm like, yes, okay. Like that's a good thing. And they keep tabs on each other more than I do. Like
it's like a brotherhood over there.
Yeah, they keep each other accountable.
Right. And they've exchanged numbers and information. So they go to dinner and talk outside of us a lot.
One of our guys hosts the Christmas party for the last 2 years, and he goes all out and having the Christmas party at his house. It's
very
amazing.
I love that.
So where are y'all's locations?
So we have one in North Dallas off of Midway and 635, and then another in South Lake off of Kimball and South Lake Boulevard.
Okay.
And so we run those two locations right now.
And if they want to get in touch with you guys to get information,
you can come to our website. We are dallas.rsbaffiliate.com. You can give me a phone call. The number on there, if you just Google Rocksteady Boxing Dallas or South Lake, ours will pop up. But you can give us a call. My cell phone number is on there, 830-596-3440, and that's directly to me. Email, call or email.
Awesome. And then how about you? Same thing? Just go straight to the website to get connected with you? Do you guys need physician referrals, anything like that? Or they can just call and get connected with you guys directly and get started?
Yeah, so we do have a form in there of we like to have that physician release, just to make sure there's nothing we need to be aware of. But when we have someone call us, we set up an assessment. So you'll do an assessment and your first class is free. So you can just try it out, see if you like it. But we like to do the assessment just to get to know the person better and their symptoms and what they're dealing with.
You and I are PTs, and there's no way we would do anything with
I
have no idea what I'm doing with here.
Nurses too. We're the same way.
Well, the great thing about the assessment is that it allows us to go back. And unfortunately, COVID definitely put a slow. So we started in 2019 and we were starting to do the reassessments. We would like to do them every six months.
Yeah.
And we saw improvements in scores across the board on everybody that we were doing reassessments on. And then COVID hits in 2020. And then we're starting to we're getting in there to do the reassessments again. And it's just like, we were on.
Now everybody's due. And we're like, okay, we got to figure out
how are we going to do 80 assessments at one time? So
that's incredible.
But yes.
So if somebody just knows somebody with Parkinson's or just has heard this and heard about you and they just want to make a donation, how can they do that?
Yeah, definitely reach out to me, and we can set that up. The name of our nonprofit is NeuroStrong Wellness and Fitness. I know that's a mouthful, so I would say give me a call first. But we are on Venmo, and again, we are a 501c3, so it is any donations are tax deductible, and everything goes straight to the helping cover costs for those that can't afford it.
That's great.
That's incredible. So I got familiarized with you guys because I had a couple patients who, as I was discharging, like, I'm going to go to this Rock City boxing thing. This is probably within like the last 6 months or whatever. I'm like, I have no idea what that is. So I actually had to look you guys up, and they swore by it. They're like, I cannot wait to go to this boxing class with a bunch of other guys with Parkinson's.
Well, because
that.
it's the fun. I mean, imagine if you're an older person and you've got, do you want to tell are you going to physical therapy or are you going to boxing?
I'm going to boxing.
I'm going to boxing. Where am I going? I'm going to boxing class.
That
See y'all
is
later.
awesome.
I'm going to, hey kids, hey grandkids, and we have grandkids show up and and we have family members show up and, if someone is more progressed, they have a corner man to help them, like we were speaking of. If
You even call them corner man.
Oh, it's a corner man.
That is so cool.
Yeah, you got to have a corner man. Especially
This has been so fun. I'm so glad you guys came today.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you
the
so
time.
much for having us.
This is what an incredible experience for those
Yeah,
guys.
I see big things. I mean, seniors today want more. They, I share all the time. They don't want to play bingo and trivia games. They want fun.
Yeah.
Punch a bag.
That's
It's
right.
fun.
Yeah, it
You ever
sounds
punched
like
a bag?
fun.
It's fun.
Well, I'm going to be talking you guys up.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
Thank you so much.
And and we should plug also. So this April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. Is that correct?
It
So
is.
we're going to be releasing this probably in the next week or so we can
Great.
coincide with that. So,
Yeah.
and I know I have some current clients who are going to be watching the show as well. So I'm sure you'll be getting calls from some other new folks to
Awesome.
get involved as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll
Thank
definitely
you.
pass your name along. Thank you
Yeah.
so
Thank
much
y'all very
for
much.
for the
coming
time.
today.
Awesome.
This is great.
Thank you.